Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and I'm obviously traveling, sitting here in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., but that is not why we are here. And speaking of D.C., we need to talk about the Department of Homeland Security because we just found out they've been using the hell out of mobile phone data all across North America. This is actually rather shocking. It's coming from Politico, and here's what's going on. And for the record, this started in the Trump administration era because the Trump administration era's immigration enforcers was using mobile location data to track people's movements on a much larger scale than previously known. This is according to documents that raise new questions about the Department of Homeland Security's effort to get around restrictions on warrantless searches. That's right, they were doing a lot of this without warrants. Now, the data basically harvested from apps on hundreds of millions of phones, allowed the Department of Homeland Security to obtain data on more than 336,000 cell phone location data points across North America. Those data points may reference only a small portion, though, of the information that the CBP, that is the Custom Borders and Patrol, basically has obtained. Now, these data points come from all over, as I mentioned, North America. We're talking points in Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, Denver, Toronto, Canada, and Mexico City, Mexico. Now, this location data continued its use into the Biden administration as Customs and Border Protection renewed its contract for $20,000 that ended in September of 2021. Obviously, President Biden was president then. Now, the ACLU, or American Civil Liberties Union, obtained these records from the Department of Homeland Security through a lawsuit that they filed in 2020. Again, that was during the Trump era. It provided these documents to Politico and separately released them to the public on Monday. Politico obviously having really good reach, as many people read it, including myself. Now, the documents highlight conversations and contracts between federal agencies and surveillance companies like Babel Street and Ventel. Babel Street, I went back and looked, I've actually talked about before, as they have been used by law enforcement and other agencies to essentially pinpoint location data rather easily. So in other words, like a cop could be like, oh, what's my ex-girlfriend doing? Boom, find location data on a cell phone. Those are the kinds of things we are talking about here. Now, Ventel, though, Ventel alone boasts that their database includes information location on more than 250 million devices. That means if you're in North America and you are watching or listening to this, odds are you are in Ventel's database, myself included. These documents also show basically agency staff having internal conversations about privacy concerns on using this kind of location data coming from cell phones. In just 3 days in 2018, the documents show that the Customs and Border Protection collected data from more than 113,000 locations from phones in the southwestern United States alone, equivalent to more than 26 data points per minute without obtaining a warrant. That is absolutely insane. The documents also highlight the massive scale of location data that the government agencies, including Customs and Border Protection, as well as ICE, that's Immigration Customs Enforcement, received, and how the agencies sought to take advantage of the mobile advertising industry's massive trove of data. The location data industry, if you didn't know, is estimated to be about $12 billion worth of a market made up of hundreds of apps that collect location data, data brokers who trade that information among each other, and buyers who look to use that data for things like advertising all the way to law enforcement. Because the United States, and this is critical, has no federal privacy laws to rein this industry in, location data sales have largely gone unchecked for the past decade, allowing multiple data brokers to sell to millions of buyers to basically whoever's buying. Oh, you're ISIS? Okay, you can buy cell phone location data, apparently if the broker has no scruples, all the way to warrantless searches because it's circumventing the law. Now, location data has been sold in the past to help things like the U.S. military identify Muslim populations. It was also available on Planned Parenthood visitors. Obviously, that will be of more concern in the post-Roe v. Wade era. A blog also used location data to basically out a gay priest in 2021. In 2020, the Wall Street Journal revealed that federal agencies, including Homeland Security, ICE, and the CBP, were using commercial location data for immigration enforcement, meaning you are that potentially illegal immigrant, you've got an app on your phone, and here we are, they are potentially using that. That said, who knows? Maybe you've got the same name as somebody that is potentially here illegally, and you might get caught up as a data point if you have the same name. There are people out there with my name. I know one of them is in Minnesota, and sometimes he gets famous. So here we are. These documents, though, that were published by the ACLU give a glimpse into just how much location data these agencies obtained, how they basically viewed using that information, and on and on. So while they had internal privacy concerns, it didn't actually stop them. But the key point here is that, one, this is obviously a gross violation of essentially data privacy for millions of people, not just potentially illegal immigrants, but millions of Americans as well. Not to mention the fact that, as I mentioned, we have no federal privacy law that reins these in. If we consider basically our data privacy a civil right, and we do because our health information is protected under HIPAA, which is our own personal information, privacy is a civil right, we have no law that codifies this, and therefore, these data brokers, because the customs enforcement, for example, is not going directly to the cell phone makers, the Verizon Sprints of the world, and say, show me Nick's location. They're getting it from third parties that are scraping this information from apps that we may have unknowingly installed, et cetera, et cetera. They are circumventing the law. That is something that we need to discuss. That is a very important issue. And so if you didn't know, this is what's going on, and I think that's really not cool, and I think it's something that we really need to have a federal law on. So if you're listening to me, make sure you're writing your member of Congress. Hopefully it'll help. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please attempt to stay private. Thanks, everyone.